Hello, I'm News Center Maine meteorologist Jason Nappy, tracking the storm moving through tonight into tomorrow morning. Let's talk about snow reports so far. There will be more of this coming in later on tonight, but for now, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches snow coming in. The highest amounts here so far, Oxford Hills and also the White Mountains over towards New Hampshire. Less as you head east, obviously, because precipitation hasn't gotten there yet. But yeah, that is a look so far at the board. Well, I want to talk about something off the top here. People are wondering why the temperature is below freezing and there's freezing rain falling. Why isn't it freezing, or why don't we have a major ice storm going on? I want to talk about this here in a little more detail. We've got real large drops, okay, the moisture, the raindrops, and that's kind of interfering with those smaller frozen drops here. It's kind of like the wind, the bigger drops are kind of pushing the smaller ones out of the way or kind of taking over. And we've got snow first that came in, and then that freezing rain is soaking into that snow. So that's another reason why you're not getting this widespread major ice situation at the ground. Sleet is also contaminating that layer, okay? So where you've got freezing rain, where you've got rain, there's sleet pellets, ice pellets basically kind of bouncing around in there. And the high sun angle that we have today, that melted some of that freezing rain, okay, because it is late March. Now let's talk about this forecast. Heavy snow, rain, and ice still going on. A messy commute tonight anywhere you're traveling, especially just a few miles inland. Limiting factors for ice accumulation I just talked about, but still it's going to be a little bit treacherous. And then clearing for Maple Sunday. That's the good news. The sugar shacks, everything going on tomorrow, the farms, looks okay. But for right now, temperatures this evening, 20s and 30s. So low 20s, mid 20s up in the Oxford Hills, the Western Mountains. You got powder there. Along the coastline, you got that temperature right below freezing. So untreated surfaces are going to have some issues here, and sidewalks too. Probably not so much the main roads. Now look at the temperature up in the county. Teens. That's going to be straight powder there. Eastport 33, wind coming onshore. Now as far as the radar goes, as of last check, here's the snow in blue. The dark blue is heavy from about just outside around Augusta southwest. And then you've got this layer of mixing going on. I just talked about that layer, how it's being contaminated. It's not straight on freezing rain or straight sleet. And then you've got rain along the immediate coastline over towards the islands into Penobscot Bay, for example, on the southern coast. Okay, so this is going to change. This line's going to shift. And what happens here is I took the debris finder to look in. You take the radar beam and you look into the clouds, into the precip, and all these droplets and kind of these sizes of the snow and the ice and the rain, all different sizes. The radar sees it as different sizes. So what you're seeing here is the contamination going on into that. So the warm nose of air is pushing in a few thousand feet up. It's melting the snow, and then at the ground level, it's trying to refreeze a little bit here where we got that warm layer coming in. But up in the northern part of the western mountains and in northern Maine, you're going to have all snow. You see here this kind of the color where it changes. That's where right now that kind of mixture line is kind of being separated. Now the engine for this storm, the water vapor, can be picked up very closely. This is coming down from the Gulf of Mexico. This little curl here going on, that's the engine driving all this moisture out ahead of the big player in the storm right there. So you've got a surface low over New York City and Long Island. You've got this on the water vapor, the big engine driving all the moisture from the tropics. So just inches of precipitation coming our way. Speaking of precip, this is what's going on if you're obviously trying to drive later on tonight. So here we've got this layer of colder air, the ground level or so, and the warmer air going on. Well, we've got this going on. We're going to go and drive into where the freezing rain and sleet is happening. There it is. Good to have some black ice driving tips tonight, okay? Keep steering wheel, keep that wheel straight. Do not hit the brakes and take your foot off the accelerator when you want to slow down anytime you're getting into sleet and freezing rain, because obviously you don't want to wipe out and end up in the ditch when you got a storm like this going on in the middle of the night. So just a few reminders. I'm not telling you not to go out in the storm. That's up to you. But if you do, you can certainly do a couple things to keep yourself a little bit safer. Now, as far as the ice risk tonight, you've got a light to moderate glaze happening here over towards Augusta, north of Rockland, up towards Bangor. But because I talked about the contamination going on with that kind of ice layer, that layer in the sky of the precip, I'm not expecting a major type of an ice storm, but there certainly will be pockets of icing going on. Temperatures in the 20s and teens. Where you see teens, that's where it's going to be straight powder, okay, white gold. But south of that, heavier and wet, and then south of that, you've got the mixture going on, and then the rain. Now, I'm not buying 40 and 42 just yet. These computer models have been off by 5 to 10 degrees from yesterday to today with the forecast as far as the temperature. It just said, I think it's a little bit too warm, but still, I could definitely see the glaze happening there. And then for Maine Maple Sunday, north wind. I don't think we're going to have full sun tomorrow, but there will definitely be some sunshine. But definitely clouds coming in later in the day up in the mountains, just fair weather stuff. I don't expect any precip out of that. The dry air is going to work itself in. Additional snowfall as of around 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night on 12 to 18 plus up here, central highlands up in terms of the county, western mountains, 6 to 12 south of that, 3 to 6 south of that, Bangor, Lewis, Auburn, Augusta, and less than 3 basically from around 995, 295, Route 1, a little portion there of southwest interior. Because of the mixing going on, I'm not expecting a lot more snow there. Power outage threat, there's a little sliver here going on from right around Lewis and Auburn, Augusta, south of Bangor from that heavy wet snow, from that icing, but still not overly concerned about it taking down, tons of limbs and a lot of lines, but still definitely a good time to have the generator fueled up and ready to go away from the home. Seas at 7 to 10 feet. Gale warning is up. Here's the forecast next several days. You've got the rain coming in next week. Temperatures are going to be warming up, at least above where they are now, so we'll get above freezing. And you see here at the coast, temperatures not looking all that much like the end of March or April. This is kind of like a blend of that. But either still, we're definitely done with this weekend's weather as far as the storm goes, but we get to next week. But that snowpack is not going anywhere where you've got several inches. It's going to stick around, I believe, into early April. So happy for all the ski resorts, everyone else kind of making their way, cleaning things up. More updates as we get to the social media later on tonight.